All right, guys, we are back with another Real Talk episode. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the channel. Today, I want to talk to you guys about ported guns and compensated guns as far as your pistols go, and whether or not I think it's worth it, and if it makes a big enough or noticeable difference to spend the money or to upgrade your pistol, so to speak, and whether or not I think it's a viable thing for EDC as well. So, before we get into all of this good stuff, in order to keep the lights on and pay the bills, I did just want to thank our biggest sponsor of the channel, that is Brownells. You can use bro code RDB10, saves you guys 10% off over at brownells.com, and it also supports the channel, as well as RDB5 over at downrangethermal.com for any thermal, night vision. They have mounts, they got scopes, they got all kinds of stuff over there. So go ahead and show those guys some love. And then lastly, liking, commenting, and subscribing, even if it's just talking shit in the comment section, guys. It is a super big help, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. Now, we got all that stuff out of the way. Let's just get rid of the elephant in the room. I do not have a Radian Ramjet. For anyone who's going to ask, I do not have an opinion on them because I don't have them. Do I think they're cool? Yes. Do I like the concept? Yes. There's some advantages and some disadvantages, I think, with it, but let's just tackle that real quick. So the advantages of a ramjet system, for those of you guys who don't know, Radian came out with its very own proprietary compensator to kind of compete with the likes of something like this, the PMM comp that you see right here. So this is the Parker Mountain Machine comp on my Glock 19X, and as you guys can tell, it has a very nice, smooth like integration with the slide. It has a very tight tolerance. It is a phenomenally well made, and it performs excellent. I mean, it's really my favorite. It's my favorite compensator. But Radian came out with their own version where they have a barrel that goes with it and like a tapered screw, set screw that goes in the side, so you don't have to have a threaded barrel. It's not a threaded barrel. It's just got like almost like a pin for like a pin gas block in the bottom of the barrel. And so you put this tapered screw in there, this tapered set screw, and it locks that in. So you don't have to like time your compensator to a threaded barrel, a traditional style threaded barrel, traditional compensator. It's a much easier installation, and it's easier to take the thing apart and clean it, which is the two reasons I really like it. This was a bit of a pain to get perfect. I'm a super OCD perfectionist, so I had to get this thing timed perfectly in order for me to be happy with it, and it's not exactly easy to do. And then I also used red Loctite, which is a permanent thread locker, so that it wouldn't back off. So there definitely are advantages to the Radian setup. It's an expensive setup. I wouldn't say much more expensive, but if you already have a gun that comes with a threaded barrel, buying a compensator that goes on a threaded barrel is going to be cheaper than buying the barrel and compensator combination. But again, with all that being said, the disadvantage is, and maybe it's a non-issue, because once you put a comp like this on a gun like this, it's not something you're going to be taking on and off all the time. At least I am not doing that. This is going to live on this gun for as far as I can see into the future. And if I want to change this out, I'll just change out the slide completely, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But with that being said, the disadvantage is if you want to have a compensator and then eventually you'd like to run a suppressor, or vice versa, go back and forth, then that's where a threaded barrel like we have here on the Springfield Echelon is nice, because then you can use a suppressor on it as well as a compensator. But again, that boils down to whether or not you're actually going to remove your compensator from your gun to run a suppressor. So now I just wanted to kind of crush that elephant in the room about the Radian, because I know people are going to ask about it. It's a very popular one these days, and I think for good reason. But those are kind of my opinions on it. I don't think I'm going to like drop everything and go buy a Radian Ramjet, because I don't know if the performance is quite there as far as the recoil reduction. I'll have to do some more research on that and actually shoot it to see how it feels. But I will talk more so about the things that I know about, which are PMM comps, Vulcan Machine Works, who did my porting on my Springfield Prodigy, and then the main company who did most of my slide milling work, and this new style that they came out with. I wish I remembered the name of this porting system, what they're calling it, but it's Maple Leaf Firearms that does this new slide and barrel porting combo. And they've done a bunch of slides for me. This is their 5X slide right here for my Glock 17. Obviously, this one is not ported or comped, but and that's the main topic of the video. But I know guys are going to ask about what else they can do, and so let's just tackle it right now. What the main question is it worth it to have a ported gun or a compensated gun? Yes, the answer is yes. Now, if you have terrible fundamentals and you don't know how to shoot a pistol as it is without a compensator or without a comp, then it's not going to really make you that much better of a shooter, because your fundamentals suck. But if you have the fundamentals, if you're kind of pushing the outer limits of what you can do with your gun as a stock gun, or without a comp or without porting on it, you're definitely going to notice a difference as far as follow-up shots and reduction of recoil. If you're already at that kind of higher end of performance, if you've already been training for this thing, you got your grip down, you You got your eyes, both eyes open shooting. You're not focused on the dot, you're focused on the target. There's just so much stuff that even myself, I have a long way to go with a lot of this stuff, guys. And I'm under no impression that I'm some grandmaster shooter, but I am a pretty decent shooter. I've competed at different steel challenges, different shooting events for pistols, and I've placed relatively high in all of those. I've never actually come in first place, but I've come in the top 5 on multiple occasions, and I've come in the top 10 more so consistently, just depending on the talent that's there. I'm not saying I'm a phenomenal shooter, but I'm definitely above the median, I would say. And so it does make a difference. I do notice the difference. And I think that even a very bad shooter is still going to have less recoil. Like the gun is still going to shoot with less recoil with a comped or ported gun, but you're not going to really shoot any better or faster or more accurately if you don't have the fundamentals down. So that is kind of a full disclaimer. Just, it's not going to make you a better shooter, although it will make your gun shoot better. You still have to perform as far as the fundamentals go at a basic level. Now, the next most common question I can see being asked in the comment section is for everyday carry or for like a practical application or even like a duty gun, for instance. Does a ported gun or a compensated gun have a place in that scenario? My belief is 100% yes. I've always been of this opinion that buy a reliable firearm, buy from a good company like Glock, and then if you're going to put anything aftermarket, if you're going to do any modifications to the gun, you need to do some quality control yourself and make sure that the gun still works with XYZ modification. So if I get a ported slide and barrel like this one right here, before I go ahead and carry this thing around in the real world and risk this thing having a malfunction on me, if I ever do need to use it in a life or death situation, I'm going to go out to the range and put several hundred, if not thousands of rounds through it before I kind of give it my stamp of approval. Now, full disclosure, I have not actually done that yet with this slide and barrel combination, but I have had other Maple Leaf Firearms products that inspire confidence, let's just put it that way, that I have a very high confidence level that this will eventually be past my standard of being reliable enough, which is 0 malfunctions, in order to carry this to protect my life with. Now, Maple Leaf Firearms did send me this slide here. So again, full disclosure, they sent me this, but they did not send me any ammunition. They're not paying me for this review, but the slide and barrel were provided. I put my other OEM slide parts in here. So everything else is mine, the optic, the actual firearm itself. So just wanted to give you guys that full disclaimer before we move forward with this. So now with that being said, this is my everyday carry gun, this Glock 19X right here. You guys have seen this before on the channel. This is the gun I carry every single day. I have put thousands of rounds through this gun as it sits today, the current configuration with the PMM comp, exactly as it sits today with this extended raised slide release. We've talked about this gun a lot on the channel. And I carry this every single day because I've shot it with thousands of rounds with 0 malfunctions and 0 issues. This is an OEM Glock slide that was just milled by Maple Leaf Firearms. They made the RMR cut, put the rear sight forward, and then they did this really great Valkyrie cut on it as well. Now, obviously, this is a PMM comp on here. They're single port comp rather. And yeah, this is my everyday carry gun. Reason being, I've shot thousands of rounds through it. I have every bit of confidence that when I pull this thing out in a life or death situation and I pull that trigger, it's going to go bang, and it's going to go bang and bang again until I stop pulling the trigger. So I have every bit of confidence in the world on this. I always say you pay for QC. Really, that's like what you're paying for. Most of these firearms are made with the same materials. Like the spec is pretty much entirely the same. They're not reinventing the wheel when they make a new handgun, but at the same time, little tiny features and benefits might change. But you need to QC your own gun when you're buying a LMT or you're buying an HK. You're paying for their higher level of quality control over something like a Palmetto State Armory or over something like an Anderson, lower, for instance. But or even like Ruger, right? I got guys who swear by their Ruger pistols. I'll never own a Ruger pistol, just me personally. But if they go out and they shoot their pistols and they work and they've never had malfunctions with them, then who am I to say it's not a good pistol, right? I'm just saying when you pay for a gun, you're paying for the name, you're paying for the QC. Do your own quality control and shoot your defensive ammo through it. I know that gets expensive, but if you're going to carry your gun with hollow points with Federal HST 124 grain, then carry it and shoot it with that ammunition, make sure it functions with that ammunition. So I would just put that whole debate to rest. You don't need to say you need just a stock gun to carry everyday carry, or if it's a duty gun, you can have modifications done to the pistol. Obviously, departments and all that garbage. I'm not in law enforcement, so I don't know how all that works, but I know certain departments only approve certain things. Like a lot of departments just started allowing red dots, but either way, you need to quality control it so that you have the confidence in your own weapon platform. And for me, that's like 1,000 rounds with no malfunctions. And that's what I'm gonna have to put through, put this new slide and barrel through the paces for before I start carrying this to defend my life with. But now that we kind of got that out of the way, we already talked about the Glock 19X. I know a lot of you guys love this pistol. I love it too. It's got an SLR Rifle Works magwell on it. So I think it's the last mod that we haven't talked about. I would love to do some grip modification to it. I just got some goon tape on here right now because it absorbs the chalk, and when you're shooting in the heat and you're sweating, it really helps. I really like the goon tape. Ameriglow suppressor height sights. These are 511-GL, I believe, are the part numbers for these Ameriglow blacked out rear and tritium front. And then a Zafari precision threaded barrel. Stock trigger that I polished myself, and then CAGWorks raised and extended slide release. So there's that gun. Now let's talk about the Glock 19. Here, this is just a standard Glock 19 with the Maple Leafs firearm slide. Again, I apologize for not remembering the name. Maybe I can look it up real quick while we're on camera, but this guy is ported. It's got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 ports on each side. So it looks like 18 ports total. And when I shot this thing, 100% noticed a huge difference. Now, I wasn't shooting it back to back with, like, say, the PMM comp, and not really a fair comparison. That barrel has a little bit more length on it, obviously, because it's a threaded barrel, and it's a single port comp versus actual porting in the barrel. So I can't really say, and porting does lower your muzzle velocity slightly. I didn't chrono these to kind of tell you guys what the difference is with the OEM barrel versus this. I don't think it's enough to actually make a difference as far as, you know, your defensive ammunition expanding, so on and so forth. I think it's only a few feet per second. If I'm incorrect, somebody let me know down in the comments. Obviously, I think it depends on the type of porting you have, so on and so forth. But you can absolutely tell a difference in the recoil reduction. This thing absolutely snaps back down much quicker for quicker follow-up shots, which is very nice. The whole point of it. One thing you will notice is it's a lot louder than shooting a non-ported gun or a non-comped gun. Comped and ported guns are just a lot louder. You'll just notice that right away. And if you shoot these things a lot and you go from shooting a non-ported or non-comped gun to a ported or comped gun, you can absolutely tell a difference, especially when you shoot them back to back. When I was doing this review on the Maple Leaf firearm slides that they had sent me a while back, I went from shooting my 17 that was non-comped, and then I went to the 19X with that PMM comp, and it was like a night and day difference in how quickly and how much more accurately I could shoot that gun. It does make a huge difference. Now, when you're talking about something like a 2011 that we have right here in the Springfield Prodigy, this was ported by the guys over at Vulcan Machine Works. I paid 100% of the price for this thing to get ported. They did no favors for me because of the channel. They did not bump me up in the lead time or anything. I paid and I waited just like everybody else for this thing, and I couldn't be happier. Usually if you send your gun in for porting, it's a little bit cheaper, obviously, than buying a whole slide and barrel combination. I believe the porting, the Ignis porting from Vulcan Machine Works, I think this ran me like around $400. They also did a trigger job, put a new trigger in it, and so and they Cerakoted the slide. So that all cost me like around $500, give or take $25. So, but with a gun like this that's already super smooth and super flat shooting, 2011 type platform with a bull barrel, it's just known for being a flat shooter already. And when you put a comp on this thing, or when you port the barrel rather, it's even more incredible how fast you can shoot this thing. I've actually done build drills at 6 yards and 6 rounds in under 2 seconds. I've gotten all in the A zone with this pistol setup here. So this is my competition pistol, but I could absolutely carry this every day if I wanted to. I have carried it EDC in the appendix position. So again, but I've also put thousands of rounds through this thing during competitions and during just training for those competitions with this porting, with this exact setup, with the Cerakote job, with the light, with the SRO on top. I've put thousands of rounds with this thing, so I know it's going to be reliable with 0 malfunctions. So these types of platforms, though, you got to keep them just a little more wet. Like the AR-15 platform just likes to run wet, and so do the 2011s because the tolerances are very tight and they just glide. They're very smooth. I can air rack this thing. And it's a stock spring in here, guys. I did not have to change the spring weight out, for those of you wondering. I had a buddy, kind of like the devil on my shoulder, telling me to start clipping away at my springs and fine-tuning my springs. I'm like, dude, it works. Even if the spring's a little overpowered, I'd rather have it have the extra juice for the reliability factor. That's the most important thing to me, even on a competition pistol, because I may carry this one day. I like to carry it every now and then. I like to have the option to carry it. So I just left it as the OEM spring weight, and so Vulcan Machine Works told me, hey, with our porting system, you don't have to change the spring weight whatsoever. So that's pretty cool. Let's just talk real quick about this setup since you guys are looking at it. We have the This is the Surefire X300 Turbo. Really great light, super bright. I mean, amazing. Been around for forever. Trijicon SRO. These are more of a competition style with a much bigger window in there. I have my dot turned down really low right now because I'm not using it. It is a phenomenally large window, and when you go from an RMR like this to the SRO, it is an absolutely 100% noticeable difference in window size and ease of finding your dot, ease of tracking your dot. When you're shooting this thing, especially in a competition, once you get used to this gun is so light recoiling, you can actually see your dot, like it's almost like a basketball dribbling up and down in the window, in this big window. With the RMR, no matter how little recoil, like that even if I had this RMR on this gun with how little recoil it has, I'm still losing that dot outside of the window and it's coming back down. Is that a huge deal? Maybe not, but again, for the competition purposes, I love this SRO. And honestly, for everyday carry, I'm not in law enforcement, I'm not in the military. I would definitely 100% trust this SRO with my life if I had to pull it out of concealment for it to work. Am I going to go ahead and smash it on the window and call it weak? No, because it's not made to be like the most durable thing ever. It's made to be a big window and get you fast dot acquisition. So again, that's the kind of the whole setup on this. Everything else is OEM besides the red dirt trigger that they installed. They left it at I think it's a 3.5 to 4.5 pound trigger pull. I did tell them I'm going to be carrying this EDC as well as using it for competition. So I just wanted it to have a really positive trigger reset. And so you guys could see, let's see if I can get on camera here. There's a take up, hit a wall. Yeah, it's not that light, but it's not crazy heavy either. So let's see. Yeah, it's incredible. It's actually what it is. It's incredible. It's very positive, tactile, and it's got a very positive reset. Kind of pushes your finger out. But that's the 2011 platform. And then I just want to talk really quickly about this guy because this guy is not comped or ported. This is the Sig P365X Macro. It's sitting in an Icarus polymer grip frame module. So I'm testing this thing out. I had very bad luck with the aluminum Icarus frame. I actually shot like 200 rounds through it and had like 15 malfunctions. Now, granted, those were the first rounds ever through this trigger module, the actual firearm in the slide. I had this gun sent to me by Brownells. I took it apart immediately, put it in the Icarus frame, and then I went and shot it, and I had a ton of malfunctions. I immediately returned that grip frame because I paid for it full price at Bass Pro. It was like $432. And Icarus I'd already gotten the works, them sending me out this polymer one. And so I'm testing the polymer one out. So far, got 150 rounds through it, 0 malfunctions. But this type of gun, this like small, compact, where it's literally like the size of my hand. Like if I put this gun up to my hand, I do have big hands, but you could see right there, like it's literally fits in the palm of my hand. And it's 9mm, which is the smallest caliber you should go with, in my opinion, for personal defense. It is extremely snappy. Like as good as this grip is, as great as it fits my hand, it's just a very snappy gun because there's very little weight. It's pretty small overall. Now they make a version of this that is comped from the factory. It comes with a 2-port comp. Some people don't even call it a true comp because it's not on a threaded barrel. It's just like a ported slide with a shorter barrel essentially. I've never actually shot that one to compare it to this, but I am very excited. I'm hoping to get one of those here soon to kind of compare it to this because I do feel like that would dramatically improve the performance of this pistol. Now, I do also believe that Radian and some other companies may be coming out with their own versions, comps for this thing. I know PMM makes a comp for this, but again, I just got this thing and I'm just doing basic level testing with it. But as an example of something that I wish had a comp, these smaller handguns that are getting more and more compact. I love it because it's 17 rounds and it's very comfortable to wear every day, especially appendix, but it is extremely snappy and it's not as comfortable to shoot. It's a lot harder to shoot accurately, fast than any of these larger guns, especially because like this Glock 19, for instance, only carries 15 rounds. This gun that's, about the same size, I guess, in slide length, it's shorter actually. So it's got a shorter slide, about the same length grip almost, but the Glock 19 is much, much easier to shoot, especially with this ported barrel. It's not even close. It's just like night and day difference. But this gun has 17 rounds and it's a lot smaller. And but yeah, it's just shootability wise, right? So I really am looking forward to getting some sort of remedy for how snappy this thing is in the future. And I'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, I don't want to just ramble needlessly. I think I kind of covered and got the points across that I wanted to in this video. If you guys are interested And this barrel and this slide combination here, I should still have a discount code for you guys. I believe it's Range Day Bro 25, saves you guys 25% off. It should still be active. If it's not, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see if those guys over at Maple Leaf will reactivate that code. I won't get paid based off of that at all. It's just to help you guys out, save you guys some money. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for staying to the end of the video. If you guys do enjoy this stuff, liking, commenting, like I said, just talking shit in the comments really helps. And so, yeah, let it loose down there if you're angry at the world, or if you just want to say, hey, ask for prayers or whatever it is, let me know down in the comments below. You can follow me on Instagram at Range Day Bro. You guys could DM me on there any questions that you guys may have, or if you guys want to see a particular Range Day Bro or Real Talk rather video in the future, you can let me know on Instagram as well. DM me over there. And yeah, love your neighbor, guys. Christ is King, and love you guys. Talk to you soon.